Casemiro days with Manchester United seem to be numbered. Meanwhile, INEOS has been given an ultimatum by UEFA. Big breaking one is that Borussia Dortmund is joining the race for an important Manchester United player, and it's not Jadon Sancho. My name is Webb. This is the United Hotspot. What a day! So much news. We are expecting stories about Erik ten Hag and his future. What we are getting is even more because, listen, as we head into the summer transfer window, the talk and focus, rightfully so, should be on players, not the managers. But guess what? United has been trying to shift their attention, divert us a bit, but the laws of football do dictate that at a point like this, you should be focusing more on the players. And here are reports coming through that Casemiro has fallen out. There are reports suggesting that Casemiro fell out with Erik ten Hag. Honestly, this don't shock me a lot. If you watched the two of them when Manchester United won the FA Cup, you saw what happened there. The facial expression showed that maybe Casemiro was not dropped because of an injury. Perhaps it was something else. And it was not. Remember that he was pulled out of the squad at the 11th hour in the last minutes of the game. It's unusual that a player would be past fit, then he's dropped out. Probably it was a fallout between Casemiro and Erik ten Hag. Maybe Erik ten Hag had chosen to start Amrabat and Casemiro didn't like it and did something wrong, and Erik dropped him. So it looks like Casemiro fell out with Erik ten Hag before the final. You saw how he wasn't, even when he was trying to embrace him after the game, Casemiro wasn't moved by him. The facial expressions, he was folding his face like he's not amused. The same thing with the after party. Casemiro did not attend the after party. He skipped it to go with his family on holiday. That shows something. Those are signs. So it might be indeed true that Casemiro might be the other senior player to fall out with Erik ten Hag. Sad stuff. But is probably it's too late for us to care because it seems it's been decided that Casemiro will be leaving Manchester United, and it is reported from Brazil that already a price tag has been set for him. Now, honestly, we want Casemiro. We wanted him as an important player to try and support the young Kobe's and help them get better. But I think the last days of his time at Man United, when he started playing central defense, he did not feel appreciated by many United supporter, and perhaps that's why it all fell off. And all the frustrations of him falling out with Erik ten Hag for me have perhaps could have started in those last days with the treatment he was getting, and then we get into a cup final where he thinks he should be playing, and Erik ten Hag chooses to start Amrabat, and he says, you know what, it's not happening. So ten Hag pulls him out and brings in Kambwala. So sad a bit to see, but it is the reality. And Casemiro is earning a lot of money. So if he's not taking a pay cut and does not want to stay, which obviously would mean he won't take the pay cut to stay, he can go. We can honestly do without him, I think, as we do rebuild Manchester United. That's the latest coming through from Manchester United. Now, still talking Manchester United, INEOS have been given an ultimatum. Oh, this is scary. Like, share, and subscribe. I'll get to the ultimatum. Let me first start off with the latest. As Borussia Dortmund has reportedly expressed interest and joined the race to sign Mason Greenwood, and they are putting together, I think, a plan, and they will finalize. The board will have a sitting and go through the reviews and conversations about whether they should go for him or not, and they will make a decision about him next week, and that is when they will make it known to Manchester United. Remember, the summer transfer window is on, and clubs are putting their plan is just around the corner, and clubs are putting their plans together. So Mason Greenwood is apparently becoming a player of interest to Borussia Dortmund. And honestly, I think they can turn him into something. They can get him for whichever amount of money, 50 or 45 million, whatever low figures Man United is valuing him at, and turn him into a £100 million player in a few seasons. So I think the fact that he has been voted the best player at Getafe in his loan season, first season playing football after not being in action for over 12 months, I think that alone has proved his talent and how good he is. So teams that appreciate talent like Borussia Dortmund, if Manchester United is sleeping on him, well, they can see the opportunity and pounce on it. So Borussia Dortmund are saying perhaps now, because he had been reported that they were interested in keeping Jadon Sancho, but they would probably rather go for now a more exciting Mason Greenwood than keep Jadon Sancho if they have to pay nearly or over £50 million, because United is believed to rate Sancho now at £50 million. So would Borussia Dortmund pay that money to take Sancho back? I highly doubt they would do so. Yet I think they would pay the same amount of money to bring in Mason Greenwood if Man United did want to to sell him to them. So those are interesting things happening well with Manchester United. And these are reports that, for me, are progressive. I think they take us forward, leave alone the stunted reports of Erik Ten Hag's job back and forth. But I think these are progressive reports. Now, at the end of this video, I'll give you an update on the whole, on day two of the talks and how it has happened. Interesting day two it has been. Now, INEOS has been given an ultimatum by UEFA until Monday. They have until Monday to convince them why both Manchester United and Nice, two clubs owned by the same man, should be allowed to play in Europe. Now, that's always when you get such ultimatums, they never end well. I think you can think about it in your personal life. When your parent has told you, you have up to midday to give me 4 reasons why I shouldn't beat you after they've been caught stealing sugar. Then they tell you, you say, no, please don't beat me. I'm sorry, mommy. No, 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 don't beat me. Okay, this is Africa. For you non-Africans, I mean, beating is unheard of. For us in Africa, we are beaten by our parents. So you've been caught sneaking and taking sugar. And they are telling you, okay, give me 2 reasons why I shouldn't beat you when sugar is all over your lips. It never ends well. Your reasons are always never going to change the mind of your parents, would they? So even with this in your whole situation, it is reported that they are putting together a group to put together a proper defense to come out and convince and speak a lot of good English and convince Sefrin's UEFA that United can still play in Europa with Niche when they are owned by the same guy, which is against the rules of UEFA. Interesting situation where we think it never ends with Man United, does it? There's always something new coming up with Manchester United. There's always something new. But well, I think they should be always a way they can work around it. I'm certain there must be a way they can figure it out and get to convince UEFA indeed to let them play together with Niche, or perhaps Ineos could relinquish ownership of one of the two clubs, and probably the easier one to let go of should be Man United, because I mean, in terms of progress, it seems to be harder to get anywhere with it. Not that they've got so far with Niche, but I mean, you don't just let go of something you've owned for you bought for a small percentage for nearly 1.5 billion pounds. So they've honestly got ways to figure it out. And in any case, I think reports used to, if they were clear, they should have made their research when they were coming into this. They must have a proper defense ready. If it's not approved, they must have another plan, a plan B, or a plan C up to plan Z to solve that. But that should not be a headache for us. That's headache for Ineos. Now, the headache for with Ineos is about the manager, Erik Ten Hag. Now, it is believed that today they went through, of course, they had their review yet again. And it seems there are reports that suggest that in today's review, they inquired with Erik Ten Hag about his ideas and, what his comprehensive plan is for, of course, to improve the weaknesses that the club has had, the playing style and all. And I think apparently names like Jeremy Frimpong emerged in the discussion. And certain people are looking at it like Ineos are trying to milk as much information out of Erik Ten Hag before they finally pull the trigger on him, which would be bad. I think they have seen the sort of the desire, the desperation. Okay, desperate, I think sounds bad, but the fact that Erik Ten Hag really wants to start Manchester United and he's shown it, I think it's no secret that the way he keeps defending himself every day in all interviews, strongly, consistently defending himself, is clear that he wants to start Manchester United. Now, maybe Ineos are looking at that and are thinking, well, we can make use of that to swing him how we like and get the best out of him, then eventually sack him. And that's why they are dragging the process now, pretending to go through a review when their decision has already been made. Because honestly, most of us think the decision was made long time, but the FA Cup victory only prolonged it, because you don't sack a guy. If we had been beaten by Manchester City, I think without a shadow of a doubt, it would have been an easy decision for them to announce, not to make because it was already made, but to announce. It's one thing to make a decision, it's a whole different thing to announce it. I think if Manchester United had been obliterated and battered like many of you expected, that I think I'm one of the few people who knew that Man United would win the FA Cup. But and I kept saying it, if you recall. But going back to this, it's not about me. Let me not try to brag, and you can go into the past videos and see my prediction. people on TikTok were abusing me for my prediction. I think even here, some of you of little faith. But here's the thing: the reality is, if Erik Ten Hag had won the FA Cup, it would be so difficult for INEOS to come out the next day and make an announcement that they've sacked him. I think that's emotional intelligence. She clearly shows that. But if the way they won it, even if they have decided to sack him, they have got to find a more amiable way to do it, a more human way, a more believable way that everyone will understand and say, okay, they had to let go of him honorably. Because now it cannot be called sacking. They will call it parting ways with him. What INEOS are trying to do to find loopholes in Erik Ten Hag that they can pounce on, and he's got to be so smart by that way. They now are trying to look for a small gap, a weakness which they can pounce on and use that to come out in a statement and say, after a thorough review of the season, we, INEOS, Manchester the club, and Erik Ten Hag have agreed mutually to part ways. That's the polite way of sacking a manager like Erik Ten Hag in such a situation. So I think that's what they are trying to do. But before they do it, they're trying to milk as much as they can and maybe hope that it can be of use to their rebuild in the event that he's completely leaving. A bit sad, but that's the reality. Anyway, that's a bit of the wrap up of the news today. Jadon Sancho too could be, I think, attracting some attention. We'll talk about it maybe when it's more, comprehensive. My name is Webb. This is the United of Sport. Subscribe, and I'll catch you later, fam.